Much for joining me today as I share an update on Blount County. I love Blount County. I live in Knox County. We've been working in Blount County now since 2011, I believe. It's been a long journey from starting there, raising dollars privately to provide last dollar scholarship to where we are now under the Tennessee Promise umbrella. Just a couple of quick housekeeping things. I'm going to allow this to be as interactive as you would like for it to be. So please feel free to jump in and ask questions along the way. This is meant to be a conversation and not merely a presentation, but I'm going to jump in and provide some updates to you so you know exactly how we're doing in Blount County with your Tennessee Achieves students. So again, my name's Krissy DeAlejandro. I'm the Executive Director of Tennessee Achieves. So today is the launch of our 90 County Local Advisory Council and community-based updates. We do these every other year. The last one, we actually went to every community, all 90 communities, which was a fun summer road trip all across Tennessee. But today, again, to dig in specifically, so just to remind everyone, I think oftentimes we forget that Tennessee Achieves is actually a 501c3 nonprofit. We are affiliated with the state in the fact that we are what's known as a partnering organization that operates the Tennessee Promise Scholarship in 90 of Tennessee's 95 counties. But we do operate with a governing board and we're raising those operation dollars privately. You can see here some big numbers over the years coming out of a program that started in Knox County with 493 applicants to where we are today, having served over 440,000 students, and we've recruited over 71,000 volunteers to work alongside our students to serve as that important volunteer mentor, 600 high schools, and 67 eligible post-secondary institutions across the state. So just as a reminder and a grounding, we do work with the state to operate Tennessee Promise. So essentially we tell the state who is eligible for Tennessee Promise after meeting specific requirements. We are working very closely with communities to recruit, train, and retain our volunteer mentors who we consider to be the heart of the program. It's oftentimes, I know, a frustrating job because students aren't as communicative as we would like for them to be. But honestly, I've seen time and again the power that a local support system can be in a student's life. Giving back is a huge piece of the puzzle. I would say it's an original pillar, in fact, of the Tennessee Achieves program, cultivating a culture of giving back. I will not steal my own thunder, but will share with you that our students have given back literally millions of hours to date, but we'll talk more about that in a bit. My favorite component of community service is the job shadowing component, the fact that students can spend those 8 hours actually really digging into a career and deciding if this is in fact what they would like to pursue as a major. We also host a suite of summer programs. We have a 3-week summer bridge program, a 10-week summer institute that's hosted in the urban core in Memphis. And we lifted this year, in light of COVID, a homegrown online summer bridge program. So this suite of programs is really designed to work with the student who is not academically prepared for college level work, their freshman first semester. And we want to not only boost them academically, but also socially in the space. And we've seen an overwhelming amount of success in these 3 programs. I will tell you, Summer Institute this year, the Memphis program had 100% success rate with all their students completely testing out of remediation, and they also leave with 9 credit hours for the fall. So not only are they not behind, but they are ahead of their peers. And this is a program that we're hoping to replicate in several communities across the state. Another important component of what we do is known as Complete. We have identified our most vulnerable student populations, which is our most economically disadvantaged students. And those students have a Tennessee Achieves dedicated staff member known as a complete coach that is proactively working with them once they land at college to ensure that they're ultimately earning a college degree. Targeted communication is also incredibly important to us, especially in light of COVID. I cannot tell you how many text messages we've sent to students to ensure that they are on track to enrolling in post-secondary, and for our college students that they are on track to earning a post-secondary credential. So again, I've told you about the 90 counties, 74 of them are considered rural, 35 distressed counties or at-risk counties. And then we talked about the fact that we serve 67 post-secondary institutions. You can also see here where our students are landing. 79% at one of our state's 13 community colleges. So that's the overwhelming number. Pellissippi being right in your backyard. That's where the overwhelming majority of those Blount County students would be headed. 11% enrolled at a TCAT, or a Tennessee College of Applied Technology, and then 10% at one of the four-year eligible institutions that are offering an associate's degree program. So again, we're working with about 60,000 high school students annually. If you combine that with our college cohort, it's a 90,000 student lift every year for the Tennessee Achieves team, which is a staff of 31. What's mind-blowing to me is that we serve 89% of high school seniors across the state. 89% of high school seniors are coming through the Tennessee Achieves program every year. We also represent 78% of first-time full-time freshmen at our state's 13 community colleges. And of that share, we make up 86% of all community college graduates. And so again, a large share tells me that if we're doing well at Tennessee Achieves, the state is doing well and we're moving that needle. You can also see here that 56% of our students are eligible for federal financial aid, and that's measured by Pell. So we have the students complete that free application for federal student aid every year, and that is how we're capturing that number. 40% of our students are considered first generation, and 51% are majoring in health science or STEM related fields. We pulled that data specifically. I presented about 2 weeks ago to the National Science Board, and they were really interested in that number. I will tell you, of that 51%, 27% are majoring in health-related fields, and with the nursing shortages that are happening across our state, I know our students are headed into lucrative family-sustaining careers. $32 million spent annually on the Tennessee Promise scholarship side, with Tennessee Achieves raising $2.5 million for operations. So let's look at where we stand in Blount County according against state benchmarks. You can see here the FAFSA file rate, so that free application for federal student aid. Once a barrier for many of our students is no more. For us, this is incredibly important, as many states never hit 50%. You can see here Blount County right on par with state average, 84% for Blount County, with the statewide average being 84% as well. I will tell you that this is a bear for those of you who don't know, and I want to give a huge shout out to all our school counselors who do an amazing job in the FAFSA completion space. So super thankful to them. You can also see here community service. I told you I was trying not to steal my thunder because I knew we'd get to the number of hours, but nearly 3.4 million hours given back by our students since inception. So Randy Boyd, who is our board chairman, says that Tennessee Achieves is the largest community service organization in the state, and no one has told us any different. So we're running with that accolade until we hear otherwise. But again, cultivating that culture of giving back is incredibly important to us. You can see in Blount County alone, 61,000 hours given back by our students. So again, just in that one community, a lot of really great work being done by students. Here we can also see a chart that's mapping out student progress. Blount County has always done a great job to ensure that every student has the opportunity to pursue post-secondary. Again, that is a huge testament to K-12 leadership. And you can see 1,220 Tennessee Promise applications versus statewide 60,000 students. Those enrolled with Tennessee Promise, 428. So keep in mind, if the student went somewhere that was outside that promise eligibility, that would not be captured here. So if you had a student at Tennessee Tech or a student at the University of Tennessee, Knoxville, that student would not be reflected in that 428 number. You can also see the first year retention rate in Blount County, 61% versus 67. What that tells me is we've got to do a better job to make sure that students are staying around for that second fall. It's a huge indicator in terms of how they're going to continue to progress through their post-secondary journey. So slightly off the statewide average there. But again, we are implementing a lot of different strategies at Tennessee Achieves to address this. But again, right on par, Blount County with the statewide average 3-year graduation rate of 35%. So I don't think anyone's thrilled with 35%, but let me tell you this, that when we started this journey of Knox Achieves, the 3-year graduation rate for the state was 14%. So we've come a long way since we launched. And I think Blount County, again, right on par with the state. So some additional numbers here, not related to Blount County, but you can see our retention rate, again, right at 67%. You can compare that to first-time full-time freshmen at a community college, and that's at 53%. So you can see at 61%, if you recall, Blount County still outpacing that state first-time full-time freshman first-year retention rate. You can also see here we're benchmarking 6-year graduation rate. Tennessee Achieves students at 51%. Your first couple of cohorts with us were very small. So I didn't want to give you a 6-year graduation rate, but we should be reporting to communities in the very near future that 6-year graduation rate from their first Tennessee Promise cohort. Again, some student impact programs that I wanted to walk through. The summer programs that I talked to you about. Yes, it's so great that students are seeing success in the actual program. But what's incredibly important to me is that seeing a long-term effect on their credentialing. And so you can see summer programs, an increase in first-year retention of 34%. So there you go, that 34% first-year retention increase. And what we're seeing, which I'm thrilled about, is these students who are beginning or should begin academically behind their peers taking part in Summer Bridge, and then they're closing the retention gaps that we see between that academically prepared student and their academically prepared peer. So that's an incredibly important statistic for us. Complete, which again is our proactive coaching model. So every economically disadvantaged student across the state has access to a complete coach that is really walking the paces of college with them from freshman first semester all the way through a post-secondary credential. We're seeing a 23% increase. And what I will tell you there is that this is our most vulnerable student population. Economically disadvantaged students tend to be the first to leave the pipeline. And so that statistic also incredibly important to us. And then finally, thanks to the Haslam Family Foundation, Knox Promise is a pilot program that we lifted here in Knox County, which provides a completion coach for every student. So while most community college regions have one coach for the entire region, Knox Promise has 5 coaches. So one county, 5 coaches, and every student is seeing a coach. And you can see a dramatic increase in that first year retention. So if you recall this 53% that you see over here in this gray box, that is a freshman at a community college. Knox Promise students who are being coached and who receive what we refer to as a completion grant. So think of it as emergency aid. We're addressing challenges like food insecurity, housing instability, the rising cost of books under this umbrella. So students who are a recipient of those two pieces of the Knox Promise puzzle have a 78% retention rate, 78%. So this huge jump in first year retention for those students, which we're thrilled about and trying to replicate its magic across the state. So here's the call to action. We very much wanted to lift up this local advisory work in light of COVID, but wanting to be mindful of everyone's safety. And so we continued to toy, should we wait another year? But then the new report, the state's college going rate, came out, and you can see here all the gains that were made in 2015 with the launch of Tennessee Promise were lost last year in light of COVID. And so it feels to me like an all hands on deck situation where we all have to come together and pull in the same direction for students. You can see the college going rate in Blount County now slightly above the state average, but and so the drop was not significant, but you did see a drop in your county's college going rate from 62% to about 59%. And so making sure that we're being mindful of this drop and that we're deploying strategies to ensure that students in fact understand the value of earning a college credential. So I sort of think about, like, what can you do? And many of you on this call are mentors. So I want to offer my sincere thanks to you for continuing to be on this journey with us, especially in light of, like I said, what can be a discouraging adventure, right? Students under the Tennessee Achieves umbrella don't sign up for mentoring. They don't ask for it. We know that the student who often needs a mentor the most is the least likely to ask for that support. And so because of that, we are continuing our mentoring program in a slightly different way in 2022, but the roles will stay the same. So still that task manager, being the resource and serving as the encourager. I continue to think that normalizing the struggles that exist for all college students is the most important piece of this puzzle. I know very few people who just excelled at college level math. And so sharing that with your student, or that struggled with fitting in at times, all of those things incredibly important, but also being that resource to students when they do have questions or hit some sort of roadblock. In 2022, what we're asking of our mentors is to join us on this journey again. We will continue to offer Tennessee Achieves Connect. For those of you who mentored with us before, you will remember it is an online platform where you can communicate with your students. I love it. I will tell you, I still mentor. My whole team mentors every year. And I love it's a place where I can log in and see exactly where all my students are in one place versus many of you are probably more organized than I am, but I constantly had notes like jotted down in my notebook. And then I would have to flip to figure out where I'd kept those notes before. And so having all of that information in one place. And then I also use the video chat feature to communicate with my students, which I loved. So that will be a constant for every mentor who joins us. We will also offer Tennessee Achieves hosted open houses at all the community colleges this year. So it's a place for mentors and students to come together and meet. It will not be mandatory for the students, but we're going to do everything that we can to get the students there and work with our post-secondary partners to make it a meaningful experience for both mentors and students. And then finally, we're going to encourage in a way that we really have never done before, mentors and students to connect one-on-one. Obviously in a public setting, not ever allowing a student in the car with you. But we have so many great stories of our mentors who have been doing this over the years. And so we want to really offer this as an opportunity for our mentors and students to get to know one another. So again, the application for mentorship is open. Like I said, I don't know if there's ever been a time where it feels more urgent that we have to be all hands on deck than it does this specific year. But you can see where to find the mentor application as well as the deadline. We need 185 mentors in Blount County. We get there every year thanks to a lot of really great support in your community. So I want to say thanks for that. Again, you can see here, new mentors complete an application, returning mentors complete a renewal, and we will train you from there. So what can you do? What's the call to action? Be a mentor. That one's not difficult, especially for those of you who've done it before. Connect us to your community, allow us to come in and share our story so that everyone understands this important call to action. You don't necessarily have to mentor, but I think just understanding and being grounded in the numbers, I think that is an incredibly important space for us to be in. And yes, it's not ideal, but I believe in transparency. I think we have to benchmark where we are to know where we want to be. And so I think that's an incredibly important piece of this. And then tell your friends, make sure that every student understands and family understands that the Tennessee Promise application is open and will remain open until the November 1 deadline. And then so I'm happy, this is my contact information. Feel free to contact me anytime, but I'm also happy to open it up for any questions that the group may have.
Krissy, you and I talked about this a little bit before, but it seems to me to be a really great idea to have one teacher or staff member at each high school who was sort of responsible for this, so they could call the students together at the first of the year and tell them how important it is they communicate with their mentor.
Yes, that's a really great point. So what we are going to do this year, which is a little different, is COVID permitting, we are hoping to be in all the high schools in November and December. So that's a tnAchieves staff member. We are blitzing all the high schools, and we're going to make sure the students are logged in to connect. That's actually how they're going to sign into that meeting. And we are going to talk to them about proper communication with the mentor. So I don't think that it's going to be a silver bullet, but I do believe truly that it will be a difference maker. We weren't able to even tell the students about Connect this past year, except via email and via text message. So being there to walk them through the tool and help them understand that that will be what their mentor uses, I do think will be a difference maker.
Thank you.
Yes, absolutely.
Krissy, this is Margaret Wilby. I just wanted to make a comment. This year is the first year, and I've been doing this for about 6 or 7 years, where my students were really responsive, but I had a parent that reached out to me. She called me, we've met. She was very, very engaged with her student and with me, asking for help. And I don't know what happened or what turned the corner, but it was exceptional this year. I was very pleased and felt like I was really doing something. Several of the students have responded. And maybe I'm getting better at the way I approach them, not asking open-ended questions or asking open-ended questions as opposed to yes or no. So it's working. I feel much, much better. It's just got to keep getting better. I know it will. And Connect was excellent.
Oh, thank you so much, Margaret. And I'm so thankful that you had a great year. We've actually heard that from a lot of mentors, that they really enjoyed the online platform and that it allowed them to communicate with their students in a meaningful way. So thank you for that. We're going to keep pushing it.
Perfect. Good to hear.
Any other questions, comments, feedback? I see Ellie from my team is on here. She's the new director of Complete, just 2 weeks old, that she received this really great promotion. So yay, Ellie. Well, great. Well, thank you all so much for your time. Thanks for continuing to invest in students. Ultimately, for us, It's about the kids. I think I can say that they're kids at 42. So it really is about students first for us. So I appreciate each of you and look forward to working with you again this year.
Thank you.
Have
Appreciate
a
it.
great rest of the day.